Have you ever wondered why some words linger in our hearts forever? Those moments when a parent's well-intentioned comment creates a wound that time seems unable to heal? Mrs. Chen, a loving mother of two successful children, never imagined that her casual remark at a family dinner would lead to months of unanswered calls and empty chairs at Sunday gatherings. She thought she was just expressing her concern, showing her love the only way she knew how. But those few words she spoke that evening changed everything. Her relationship with her children, the warmth of their family bonds, and the joy of their once frequent gatherings. I remember the silence that followed. Mrs. Chen shared, her voice heavy with regret. The way my daughter's smile faded, how my son's shoulders tensed. In that moment, I didn't realize I had crossed an invisible line that exists between parents and their adult children. A line that, once crossed, takes tremendous effort to step back from. This story might feel uncomfortably familiar to many of you watching. Perhaps you found yourself in Mrs. Chen's position, or maybe you're worried about saying the wrong thing to your grown children. You're not alone in this journey. In fact, what I'm about to share with you today could save you from years of regret and help you maintain the precious connection with your children that you've spent a lifetime building. In today's video, we'll uncover 5 seemingly innocent sentences that could silently destroy your relationship with your adult children. Words that might feel natural to say, but carry the weight of unintended consequences. These aren't just random phrases. They're common expressions that I've seen tear families apart during my years of working with parents and their adult children. But here's what makes this video different. We won't just identify these harmful patterns. I'll show you exactly how to transform these potential relationship breakers into bridges of understanding. Because the truth is, the way we speak to our adult children can either strengthen our bonds or create walls that may take years to break down. By the end of this video, you'll understand not just what to avoid saying, but more importantly, how to express your love and concern in ways that your children can truly hear and appreciate. This knowledge isn't just about preventing conflict. It's about building a legacy of healthy relationships that can last for generations. If this video resonates with your family journey, write "family first" in the comments below. Your story might help another parent who's silently struggling with the same challenges. And if you're committed to strengthening your family bonds, don't forget to join our second chapter Wisdom community by clicking the subscribe button and bell icon. Now, let's get started on transforming the way you communicate with your adult children, because every word you speak today shapes your family's tomorrow. One of the most damaging phrases that can escape a parent's lips is, "Why don't you visit more often?" It seems like such a simple question, doesn't it? Just a parent expressing their desire to see their beloved child. But beneath these 7 words lies a web of guilt, accusation, and emotional manipulation that can drive your children further away instead of bringing them closer. Let me share something from my experience working with families. Last year, I met Mr. Zhang, a dedicated father who couldn't understand why his weekly family dinners had dwindled to monthly, then quarterly visits. He found himself repeatedly asking this question, believing it would encourage more visits. Instead, each time he asked, his children's visits became less frequent, their calls shorter, their responses more distant. What Mr. Zhang didn't realize, and what many parents don't understand, is that this question carries hidden messages. When your adult children hear, "Why don't you visit more often?" what they actually hear is, "You're not doing enough, you're not a good daughter/son, or your life choices are less important than my needs." In today's world, your adult children are likely juggling careers, relationships, perhaps their own families, and countless other responsibilities. When you question the frequency of their visits, you're inadvertently dismissing the complexity of their lives and the efforts they do make to stay connected. Think about it. Have you ever felt more motivated to visit someone who made you feel guilty about not visiting enough? Guilt might work in the short term, but it builds resentment that can last for years. Write "better parent" in the comments if you're committed to improving these family bonds. And don't miss our next video on family relationships. Subscribe now to continue this journey together. The second phrase that can create deep wounds in your relationship is, "Your brother/sister would have done it differently." Perhaps you've said this thinking it would motivate your child to try harder, or maybe it slipped out during a moment of frustration. But let me tell you about Mrs. Liu, whose relationship with her younger daughter took years to repair after one such comparison. Mrs. Liu had two daughters, one a doctor, the other a teacher. Whenever her younger daughter, the teacher, made a life decision, Mrs. Liu would casually mention how her older sister might have handled it. Your sister would have saved for a house by now, or your sister would have chosen a more practical career. She didn't realize that each comparison was like a tiny cut, gradually creating a wound that would take years to heal. What makes this phrase so destructive is that it attacks something fundamental to your child's identity, their sense of being uniquely valued and loved. When you compare siblings, you're not just commenting on their choices or actions. You're telling them that who they are isn't enough, that they need to be more like someone else to earn your approval. Every child, no matter their age, has their own path, their own dreams, and their own way of navigating life. Your older son might be great with money, while your younger son has an incredible gift for connecting with people. Your daughter who became a nurse might be just as successful in her calling as her sister, who became a CEO. Success and happiness look different for different people. When you compare your children, you're not just causing pain. You're potentially damaging their relationship with each other, creating rivalry where there could be support and resentment where there could be love. Comment Wisdom Seeker if these insights are helping you understand your family dynamics better. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more guidance on nurturing healthy family relationships. Let's talk about the third phrase that can create lasting damage. When will you give me grandchildren? I know this question often comes from a place of love and genuine longing. You might see your friends playing with their grandchildren and feel that emptiness in your own heart. But this seemingly innocent question carries a weight that can crush your relationship with your adult children. Mrs. Wong learned this lesson the hard way. Every family gathering, she would ask her 35-year-old daughter about grandchildren. She didn't know that her daughter had been struggling with fertility issues for years, suffering in silence while putting on a brave face. Each time the question came up, it was like reopening a wound that hadn't healed. But it's not just about fertility struggles. In today's world, having children is a complex decision influenced by many factors: career goals, financial stability, environmental concerns, or simply personal choice. When you repeatedly ask about grandchildren, you're not just asking a question. You're potentially diminishing your child's other life achievements, causing stress in their marriage or relationship, making them feel like they're disappointing you, pressuring them about a deeply personal decision, creating anxiety about their life choices. Remember that your adult children don't owe you grandchildren. Their bodies, their lives, and their reproductive choices are their own. The decision to have children should come from their desire to be parents, not from pressure to fulfill your dreams of being a grandparent. Type Learning Love if you're gaining new perspectives on respecting your children's life choices. Be part of our growing family. Subscribe and share your journey as we learn together how to build stronger family bonds. The fourth phrase we need to discuss is one that might feel like you're expressing love, but actually creates deep emotional wounds. I sacrificed everything for you. We often hear parents say this with pride, believing it shows their dedication and love. But let me share a story that reveals its true impact. Mr. Lee was proud of how hard he'd worked to put his son through medical school. He'd taken extra shifts, lived frugally, and postponed his own dreams. When his son decided to leave his medical practice to start a wellness center, Mr. Lee couldn't help but remind him of all these sacrifices. "I gave up everything for your education," he would say. "I worked 2 jobs so you could become a doctor." What Mr. Lee didn't realize was that each time he mentioned his sacrifices, he was adding to an emotional debt that his son felt he could never repay. This invisible burden became so heavy that his son started avoiding family gatherings, dreading the inevitable reminder of how much he owed his parents. Here's what makes this phrase so damaging. When you remind your children of your sacrifices, you're not just sharing your life story. You're creating a burden of guilt they carry into every decision, making them feel responsible for your happiness, suggesting their current choices are invalidating your sacrifices, implying that your love came with conditions, teaching them that sacrifice should be used as leverage in relationships. True sacrifice, when done out of love, doesn't keep a running tab. The decisions you made as a parent were yours to make. Your children didn't ask to be born, and they didn't ask you to sacrifice for them. By reminding them of your sacrifices, you're transforming what should be a gift freely given into an emotional loan that they feel forever indebted to repay. Share Growing Together to join our community of caring parents who are working on healthier communication with their children. Be sure to subscribe to access more insights on parent-child relationships. Our fifth and final damaging phrase is one that many parents don't realize is harmful. You never listen to my advice anymore. This seemingly simple observation carries a heavy burden of control and disappointment that can severely strain your relationship with your adult children. Consider Mrs. Zhang's experience. She was a successful business owner who had guided her daughter through every major decision in life. When her daughter started making choices without consulting her first, from changing jobs to choosing an apartment, Mrs. Zhang felt hurt and dismissed. She found herself repeatedly saying, "You never listen to my advice anymore," not realizing that each time she said it, she was pushing her daughter further away. What makes this phrase particularly destructive is its hidden messages. When you tell your adult children they don't listen to your advice, you're actually saying, "Your independent decisions are a form of disrespect. Your judgment isn't as good as mine. Your growth and ability to make decisions threatens me. Our relationship should stay the same as when you were young. My experience matters more than your autonomy." The truth is, your adult children not taking your advice isn't a sign of disrespect. It's a sign of successful parenting. You raise them to think independently, to trust their judgment, to stand on their own feet. When they make decisions without relying on your guidance, they're not rejecting you. They're using the decision-making skills you help them develop. Right, family peace, if you're ready for positive change in your relationship with your adult children. Click subscribe to continue learning about family harmony as we grow together in understanding. As we near the end of our discussion, let's talk about what really matters, the legacy we leave through our words. Every phrase we've discussed today isn't just about the immediate impact. It's about the kind of relationship you want to build with your children for years to come. Think about your own relationship with your parents. What words do you remember most clearly? Often, it's not the praise or the casual conversations that stick with us. It's those moments of tension, those phrases that cut deep and left lasting marks on our hearts. Now, you have the power to break this cycle and create a different kind of legacy. Mrs. Chen, whom we met at the beginning of our video, eventually transformed her relationship with her children. After realizing the impact of her words, she made a conscious decision to change how she communicated. Instead of saying, "Why don't you visit more often?" she started saying, "I love when you're here." Rather than comparing her children, she began celebrating their unique paths. The results were remarkable. Not only did her children start visiting more frequently, but the quality of their time together improved dramatically. Gone was the tension that used to hang in the air during family gatherings. In its place grew a new kind of relationship, one built on mutual respect, understanding, and unconditional love. Your words today are shaping your family's tomorrow. They're either building bridges or creating walls. They're either nurturing closeness or fostering distance. The choice, as always, is yours. Every family has its own story, but the power to change that story lies in the words we choose to use. Remember, removing these 5 harmful phrases from your vocabulary isn't about restricting your expression. It's about opening new paths for deeper connection with your adult children. Instead of, "Why don't you visit more often?" try saying, "I cherish every moment we spend together." Instead of comparing siblings, celebrate each child's unique journey. Instead of asking about grandchildren, show interest in their current life and dreams. Instead of reminding them of your sacrifices, show them your pride in who they've become. Instead of lamenting that they don't take your advice, trust in the wisdom you've already instilled in them. These changes might feel small, but their impact can be profound. Just as Mrs. Chen discovered, when you change your words, you change your relationships. Your children aren't just looking for your approval or guidance anymore. They're looking for your acceptance, understanding, and unconditional love. Be part of our growing community of parents who are committed to building stronger family bonds. Write family wisdom in the comments if you're ready to transform your relationship with your adult children And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more insights on nurturing family connections that last a lifetime. Your wisdom and experience are invaluable gifts, but how you share them matters more than you might realize. As we wrap up today's discussion, I want to leave you with this powerful truth. It's never too late to change the words you use with your children. Every conversation is an opportunity for a fresh start, a chance to strengthen those precious family bonds. Think about the legacy you want to leave. Imagine your children sharing stories about you with their own children someday. What words do you want them to remember? What feelings do you want those memories to evoke? The choices you make today, the words you speak tomorrow, will echo through generations. Remember Mrs. Chen's transformation? Her story didn't just end with improved relationships with her children. Her new approach to communication created a ripple effect throughout her entire family. Her children started modeling the same respectful communication with their own children. The cycle of harmful words was broken, replaced by a new legacy of understanding and acceptance. If you're watching this video and finding these lessons valuable, take a moment to share your own experience in the comments below. Your story might be exactly what another parent needs to hear right now. Don't forget to join our family wisdom community by hitting the subscribe button and bell icon. Together, we can learn, grow, and build stronger family bonds. Let me wrap up with a final heart-to-heart message to complete our journey together. Before we part ways today, I want to speak directly to your heart. Your presence here, taking time to learn and grow, shows just how much you care about your relationship with your children. That alone is a beautiful testament to your love as a parent. Starting tomorrow, you have the power to change everything. Each word you choose can be a building block for a stronger, more loving relationship with your adult children. Remember, it's not about being perfect. It's about being conscious, being willing to learn, and being ready to grow. If you found value in today's message, please take a moment to subscribe to our channel. By joining our family wisdom community, you'll receive weekly guidance on nurturing those precious family bonds. Share this video with other parents who might be struggling with similar challenges. Sometimes, all it takes is one insight to transform a relationship. And while you're here, let me know in the comments, what's one way you plan to communicate differently with your adult children after watching this video? Your sharing might inspire others on their own journey toward better family relationships. Remember, every family has its own path, but we're all walking toward the same destination, a place of understanding, respect, and unconditional love. Until next time, treasure your family, choose your words wisely, and keep building those bridges of love and understanding. Stay blessed, and I'll see you in our next video, where we'll continue exploring the wisdom of family relationships together.